everybody, and welcome back to the Inside Scoop, the only advice column podcast for kids. This week, you guys have sent me in a ton of questions, and obviously, I'm not going to be answering all of them, just 3 like always. But if I don't get to your question this week, I'll definitely answer it next week. Quick reminder, if you want a chance to have your own questions answered and featured in my podcast, just voice message me through Anchor or email me at insidescoopquestions@gmail.com. The link will be in the description. And I don't think I have too much to say in today's introduction, so without further ado, let's get right into the episode. Anyways, our very first caller of the day is Sia. Sia, what's on your mind? What's the scoop?
Hi. My parents are expecting me to take orchestra as an elective and play the violin. But I want to take art as an elective. How do I tell them that I hate the violin without disappointing them?
Actually, Sia, I think that question deserves a little flashback. Let's go back to a couple of months ago, around June or July. My parents told me when school started up in the fall, I'd have to try out for the girls' basketball team. Don't get me wrong, basketball is not a bad sport. I just wasn't too keen on being on a team for it. I actually even thought about doing really bad on the tryouts so I wouldn't make the team. But that would be a lie, so I decided against it. Let's fast forward to a couple of days ago when the first tryout took place. I went to the first tryout, but I didn't like it at all. I ended up finally convincing my mom that I didn't want to be on the team. My parents said I would regret if I didn't try something new. And if I was a parent, maybe that would be the advice I gave you. But I'm not a parent, and this is not a parent's advice column. It's a kid's advice column, which is why I'm going to give you the answer from a kid's point of view. I know how bad it is when you're forced to do something you don't want to do. Trust me. Did I regret trying out? Not really. Wouldn't you rather do something you really like instead of doing something somebody else is making you do? So I say to take art. And now, to convince your parents, all you have to do is simply talk to them. Make up a really good argument. I find researching online for some reasons works well too. They'll be mad at first, obviously. But when you're able to do what you really want to do, trust me, it feels good. Thanks for calling, Sia, and I really hope you like that little flashback into my own life. Alright guys, it's time for our second question of the day. We got this one from an email from Organized. She says, "Hi Anya, I like to think I'm someone who has the capacity to do lots. And I do lots of things during the day. I have 4 classes: singing, language, a sport, and art. Also, I like to study science and math, and I'm interested in reading as well. But I just don't know how to balance these things. I want to do more, even like yoga in the morning. I've even tried timetables, but I never managed to follow it. Do you know any way to balance all these activities?" I hear you, Organized. I do a lot throughout the day too. I have to wake up, go to school, do my homework, go to any classes, and then work on this podcast, which is the fun part. So, I'm going to give you some tips to stay more organized. The first thing is that when you wake up, create a to-do list of everything you need to do throughout the day. Now, I know that doesn't seem like some mind-blowing idea, but it actually works really efficiently. You see, if you have everything planned out and written in front of you, you'll be more likely to do it, and it'll keep you productive. I also suggest doing what you need to do first and what you want to do later. For example, if you first need to do your homework and go to a class, do that first, and afterward you can watch a movie or play a board game. I find a to-do list works a lot better than a schedule or a timetable because you don't have every single thing planned out at a specific time. It makes you feel like you don't have any time for freedom. I think at the end of the day, when I feel productive, it always makes me feel better. I also suggest that when you have a really large task, you should break it up to separate days. You do part of it one day and part of it the next. I hope all these tips help, and if they do, make sure to update me too. Thanks for calling Organized. Alright, guys, it's that time again. Time for our third and final caller of the day. Caller 3, speak to me. What's the scoop?
Hi, I have a question for you. My sister and I have been fighting a lot lately, and one thing I remember is that when we were little, we were best friends. But now she's getting older, I'm getting older, and as we fight, it's ruining our sisterly bond. What should I do?
Okay, caller 3. Sisters fight, but you're always going to be sisters. Whether you're friends or not is up to you. Next time you argue with your sister, think a little bit. Are you mad at her or are you mad at the situation? Naturally, you're going to fight since you're still kids. When you get older, you'll argue a lot less. As for your sisterly bond, that can't be broken, as long as you still care about each other. Thanks for calling, caller 3. Okay, guys, that's all for today's podcast. But if you're still listening right now, we are actually going to have a special guest next week, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you want a chance to have your own questions answered and featured in my podcast, just voice message me through Anchor or email me at insidescoopquestions@gmail.com. Remember, anything and everything is answered here. You just need to ask yourself, what's the scoop? I'll see you all next time on the Inside Scoop, the only advice column podcast for kids.